It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
All right, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another edition of The Oil Stream. Dusty and Tommy Gazzola with you again. And Tommy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
A few things to discuss.
Lots to talk about today. We're
what do you
post-game show was fire last night.
Post-game show was good.
Yeah, and our connection cut out at the end, but we're pretty much done. Apologies for that. YouTube Trev, great job wrapping it up and getting in the player of the game, brought to you by Damon
see you,
Bunting.
YouTube Trev out there.
We see you, dog. We see you.
Yeah, no, that was good.
I was just kind of tidying up a little bit.
Yeah, that's a mystery letter. We're going to open it on the show tomorrow.
I want to point out one thing. I love how it says Nasty HQ at the top.
Yeah, that's cool. That's like a nice slang for our Edmonton. Actually, pass me that envelope for a second. I can't show you, but this is pretty well done. So we got this in the mail today. Our mail lady came by.
Oh,
So she just opens up the door, drops the mail on the top there.
I've met her. She's very nice.
She seems really
I don't
nice.
know her name or anything.
Anyway, we got this letter, and it actually has like the proper labels on it. It's got like a yellow label. It says Nasty HQ, as Tommy said, and it's from St. Albert.
Yeah.
Double stamped. I can feel a staple right here.
Yeah.
And it feels like a folded up sort of bunch of paper.
Yes.
So,
interesting.
what do you think? We're going to take guesses
I don't
on the
know.
show tomorrow.
Are we
like
opening it after this show? Like what's going on?
No, we're opening it live on our show tomorrow. So I hope it's not like some sort of like anthrax
what if it's
or something.
death threats?
That's what. Well, I mean, I guess we'll find out. Maybe it's nudes.
Oh, okay.
We won't know. We'll find out live tomorrow when we open this up. So if you sent this to us tomorrow morning on the show, what we'll probably do is use it to drive a bunch of content. Like, what's in the envelope?
Hey.
What's in the envelope?
All right.
But yeah, it's relatively thick.
Yeah, I know. I was impressed by it. I'm guessing it's handwritten too.
Oh, you think it's handwritten?
That's my
I'm
guess.
hoping it's a portrait of Renee.
Renee.
That would be amazing.
Renee.
Speaking of nudes, no, you need to a little bit. Hi, I'm Renee.
Hi, I'm Renee.
My tired voice is really good for Renee voice. Yeah, no, it's
you're
really
doing
good.
Fine.
All right, if you are listening right now live at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you know we love you. And you can text us, 780-218-9999 if you're looking for that static-free, crystal-clear Oilers talk. We got you covered here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The most concerning thing for you coming out of last night's loss for the Edmonton Oilers, I want to hear what your thoughts on it, because there's about 3 or 4 things that could fit the bill coming out of this one. 780-218-9999, or, of course, in the nasty chat today as well. And there's a whole lot of things to discuss. I do first want to say a huge shout out to the crew down at Boston Pizza. We were at the Capilano Boston Pizza last night. Had the speakers working. We probably need to get bigger speakers because nice little crowds in there. I think our speakers might just be a little bit too small. But we ended up getting them fixed, and it ended up being an awesome night.
Yeah.
You guys got a glimpse of the new pizza that's going to be launching November 1st.
Oh, the deep dish.
Holy
smokes.
Really that was delicious.
It was very good.
That was good.
And shout out to Cody from BP
Capilano.
GM.
Great
he
dude.
made it himself. Like he wanted us to try to Neil from one of many other locations talk this deep dish pizza. There's 3 types of them, but it's just about to come out. And then Cody, who's the GM of BP Capilano, went in and made it. The head chef was leaving, didn't know how to put it all together, and so Cody's like, yeah, I went on the BP food tutorial site, and I made it for you guys. And
that's how he found
fantastic.
it?
Yeah.
Can we get a link to this site? Hey, sneaky.
Ooh, I think you need
nice.
to log in. You need to be an admin of some sort. I'm guessing it's like a vault. And
even though we did tap into their Wi-Fi yesterday, we still can't.
We did tap into.
We still can't get that done.
Talk about that though. But yeah, it worked out really nice. Thank you to everyone who showed up. The crew from Molson. Huge thank you to Joseph and the boys. Some great giveaways. They had a Heritage Classic McDavid jersey that they gave away right at the end. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's true. I gave that away.
Mary was there with her husband. Her husband won a good prize as well. My mom was just pissed off. Her and Hernan.
Oh, man, your mom hates Evan Bouchard.
She was very
Holy
upset.
smokes. She's such a nice little lady, but she's like a little bit of the Hulk going there.
I know. And she's like, what are they doing? Oh, my God, Tommy. I'm like, yeah.
Can you give me Tommy's mom? This guy is the worst.
this guy is the worst.
Yeah, and then poor Hernan last night. Hernan and your mom are like spirit animals that cross paths in a field somewhere.
Yeah.
Because Hernan's sitting there. We were doing the quote today when you were, I think, back on the air for the post-game show, and Hernan's sitting there with us, and he goes, I have so much hate in my heart right now.
He was fired up.
And he was so angry at Bouchard.
Too, that the other listeners and viewers and EST nasties that showed up yesterday were like, you got to put Hernan on the air tonight.
I know.
And I wanted
Everybody wanted him.
I wanted to, and I was like, I kind of floated it to him, like, hey, you want to drop on for a couple minutes? And he's like, I can't, man, I can't.
He couldn't. He was into the wine last night.
He was into the wine.
He was in a dark spot last night, poor Hernan. With that being said, we are trying to get Hernan in on the hangout next week.
That'll be excellent.
So that'll be
he had a rough week. Like the team, the Elks lose.
Tough week.
I get smacked around by the Bombers, and then they have garbage bag day and exit meetings and all that stuff. So that's end of a season after a tough season is hard, especially if you're a part of the communications staff and you live with that team. You're part of that.
You were through some pretty bleak years in Edmonton
and then
with the Oilers.
You come hang out with the boys that you worked with for years and years and years, and you want to watch the Oilers. And Hernan, the passion for the Oilers, the fire only grew after he left us at 1260.
Yeah, he misses
and so he wanted a win last night among many, and it didn't happen. And he was just, I think it culminated. But it was great to see.
At one point, he was yelling at Wannick. He goes, "I've been telling you this all season." And
Matt, he did. I heard that.
Yeah, but Maddie's like, "No, you haven't."
I know. I heard him say that. I was like, "You guys have been talking all season."
$5 off medium pizzas at Boston Pizza. Tankers, we're hoping to maybe start doing many more of these pre and post games at Boston Pizza.
Yes,
trying to close that deal right now. Somebody, I just want to bring back to this envelope for a second. Somebody in the nasty chat was just like, "Oh, I bet you it was Evan Bouchard who mailed it in," which is that's really well done.
I'm seeing a lot of Bouchard. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk.
Well,
about
I mean,
this.
We're obviously gonna talk about what's going on with Evan Bouchard right now. But yeah, post game was great last night. I thought you guys nailed it. Gager and Belzy were great.
Those two, I mean, you got a former defenseman and a former goalie. And what are the two things? There's a lot killing this team right now. But
yeah, there is.
The things that are like alarming are, okay, they couldn't get a save. That wasn't even issue number one. And you know what? Jack Campbell actually made a lot of really good saves last night. He kept them in it. He's the reason why they had a 3-2 lead going into the third period. But the defensive side of the game is an absolute atrocity right now. An atrocity, and Bouchard is a major part of that. He's not the only part of it that has led to the atrocity that is the defense. But last night, missed checks, knocking the puck away from your goalie that leads directly to a goal, having a rim bounce off of your stick right into a high-danger opportunity, and with a cross-ice pass, and then the bad pinch. The bad pinch that led to the Hartman goal for the Hattie, just so many poor reads, so much confusion, lack of confidence. It has snowballed into an absolute disaster. And he, among others, on the back end, but he's certainly the leader.
I can't believe I'm even going to ask this, and I think Bouchard is he's obviously an important piece here. I don't want to slag on him too much.
No.
But he played the game last night to the point where I can ask you this. Which one of his mistakes was the worst? Which one of those plays that led to a goal was the worst, do you think?
Okay.
The problem here is that we have so many options.
Yeah, no, I know. And the one that, if I'm looking at it from a fan's point of view, and the one that I just was flabbergasted by yesterday was the one where he tried to shoot it away from Jack Campbell. Yeah, leave it.
To me, it looked like Campbell, because I know somebody was like, look at his rebound control, but Campbell
was
reaching out with his stick to pull it in, and the only person that could have stopped Jack Campbell from doing that was Evan Bouchard, and Bouchard whiffs on it, knocks it away, it's in the back of the net. So, to me, Campbell was still on the verge of controlling that rebound, and
I agree that Campbell didn't play that cleanly, and
he didn't play cleanly. That's why he was going for the rebound.
I'm like, how did that devolve so quickly? And then you see, okay, he didn't completely he didn't smother it or just inhale the shot when it hit him on the chest, but he was going to get it. It looked like there was, that extra second to make the play. Then all of a sudden you see this stick shoot it out, and I'm like, that looks like Bouchard's stick. Oh, wait, that was Bouchard. Oh, look at that. He flubbed on it. Oh, look at that. Pass, goal. It was that one pissed me off from a hockey standpoint because it's like, let your goalie handle it.
Yeah.
And watch your man in front.
Bingo. And also, if you do see a puck laying in front of your goaltender, don't knock it up the middle of the ice.
Now, the giveaway on the rim, I'm not saying that that's okay, but that was you put it to an absolutely terrible area. And then by the time he gave up that 2-on-1 with the bad pinch, you're just like, well, you're having a bad game defensively. Yes, he had a good game offensively, but equally as bad defensively. It was like, oh, of course Bouchard made a bad pinch. Terrible read, and they scored on it.
Well, and to me, the bad pinch isn't even on him. The bad pinch is on Jay Woodcroft for putting him back out on the ice.
What did you and I talk about? I said, you have 6 other defensemen. You're
Yes.
like, exactly.
Play them.
Yeah.
Like there's, at some point, you have to hold somebody on the team accountable for something.
Yeah.
And as Noodle said on the Nielsen show this morning, earlier in the day here on Edmonton Sports Talk, smash hit, as Noodle said this morning, he goes, the only way that you can send messages to players in the National Hockey League nowadays is not, you can't take money away from them. You can't do anything except take away their ice time.
Yeah.
And to me, that was a perfect example. And I tweeted about it. And then sure enough, he has that shot from the point that gets deflected by Kane. And I tweeted right after that, I said, the assist does not change my opinion on whether or not this guy should be on the ice. Like Jay Woodcroft, when you have 6 other defensemen going and you have one defenseman, and I know it's tough to but you could honestly say Bouchard was directly responsible for that loss last night. Honestly, like look at the goals that we just broke down. Yeah. The first one, he doesn't want anything to do with anybody. The other one, the goaltender was trying to cover up. He batted away from him. He should have. It wasn't like that puck was coming in super hot for him around the boards. Tried to take it on his backhand and just bobbled it. And then the pinch was like, I know it's a lot more than just one guy, but I honestly think you can pretty much put that loss on Bouchard last night. I don't think that's an unfair statement. So if you're the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers and you're Jay Woodcroft and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to get this thing back on track? How about, dare I say, you actually hold somebody on your team accountable and bench Bouchard for the rest of that game?
I'm with you, and that's why I said to you, you have 6 other defensemen. Like, why is this guy still playing?
You could have got through it for 12 minutes.
I went up to Gager and Belzy and the table we were doing the show from, and that's where they were kind of set up for the night. And I was like, why is he still playing? Like, shouldn't he be benched? And both guys just nodded. They're like, yes. And then we look up, and he's out there again, and they get scored on again. And I was like, boys, like, accountability. So we're dumping on him, I think rightfully so. I also recognize the good that he can bring and has brought to the team and the blue line. He did it last year down the stretch in the last, 21 games when Ekholm came over. He did it in the playoffs for the most part. He did it the year before in the playoffs, and he was good down the stretch. Why can't he do it at this point? What is this? Year number 4 of his NHL career, 3rd full season. Why can't he do it consistently? I know he's still a young defenseman, but we're at that point now where you got to turn, and there's no looking back. You got to make that turn and turn yourself into a consistent night in, night out performer. And he's just been a dud all season.
We had people asking us this morning, would you healthy scratch him against the Rangers? Now, I would, if Jay Woodcroft does, I will fully support it.
Sure.
I don't think he will.
Agreed.
I'm not sure. I don't know the right way to handle this player. You know what I mean?
Put him out there for the power play. You're not seeing the ice until we can trust you 5-on-5. That would be the best way to do it. If you're going 11-7, you play the power play. You better play it damn well. If we have a lead, I'm talking about if you're the Oilers and you're Jay Woodcroft, then we'll put you out there and see how you handle it. You have to earn the trust back. That's what I would say if I was in that situation. Are they going to do that? I don't think so. But that's how I would
think so. K-Gill 97, he's been asking this a couple times. Let's get to it. I think there's a short version of it here. Play Broberg more than Bouchard. Tommy, what do you think?
Right now, sure. Go for it.
There's no downside to it right now. What's he going to do? Cause major issues defensively? That's what Bouchard's already doing.
Right. I mean, sure. Give Broberg Bouchard's 5-on-5 shifts. Go ahead. That's fine. Until he starts to earn back the trust from the coaching staff. Unless they are going to look past this and show him video and go, now, Evan, when this situation arises, this is what we like to do. You like to lift the stick. You can do it. You can be a little rough. That's fine. And then you can push the player from the other team out of the way nicely. And then make sure that when the puck lands close by your goalie, don't let the stick go down and him shoot it because it might go in. We're just asking you, because see this example right here. You didn't do that. You shot it away, and it went right to their guy, and he passed it, and they scored. We don't like that. Please don't do that anymore. Thank you. Return the iPad when you're done with it. Have a nice night.
They could do that.
They
could do that.
I'm being fired up and
you're being facetious. Yeah, like the facetious.
It's just like how much.
There's got to be some
oomph
in the game
kindness
somewhere.
can you kill these guys with? They're 1-4-1.
Yeah, you
no
suck.
more kind. They're pissing away a season 2 weeks in.
Somebody pointed it out. We ran the Woodcroft stuff. You guys ran it last night.
Yeah.
He looked defeated last night, like deflated, man. Like a week ago, he's dropping F-bombs because he's so frustrated with things.
Yeah.
Last night, he just even. I don't know if you were watching the game when they cut to him in that one shot and it was a longer shot, and he was just like. That was after the sixth goal.
The 1,000-mile stare.
It was after the sixth goal. Like, it was just like...
This is not good because I've seen that stare from Hall of Fame coaches that coach this team. Ken Hitchcock.
They're looking off
Dave
into
Tippett,
the abyss.
Todd McClellan. They've all had that 1,000-mile stare where they're just like, what more can you do? And that's why when we talk about, like, I know people texted in yesterday, like, trade this guy, time to blow it up. And listen, I know we're 6 games in, but this has been a horrendous start. And this is why I always go, it's between the ears of this collective group. And there were people suggesting a coaching change. And listen, the heat gets cranked up if your team is playing poorly and you're not getting results around a coach. That's a natural instinct. It happens, and we talked about it a little bit last week on our shows. That happens if your team's playing bad. Naturally, the heat gets cranked up on a coach. It happens in every sport, in all professional sports. But is it the right solution? Because this team has had 15 coaches in the last 10 years, and I'm hyperbolizing, obviously. It's between the ears of the guys that wear the jersey and go out there and play during the game.
But even lots of those guys have changed. There's been a lot of turn. Like Zach
know,
Hyman wasn't here when Todd McClellan was staring off, and Kane wasn't here.
No, I know.
I don't know, man.
It's
messed up.
This is terrible. What's happening right now with this team?
Hontorio Momes in the nasty chat. His tie was Burke level loose. He can't do anything with a 20-man roster. It's on Holland. The one thing that they're right. Like, you can't really do anything. You could.
They're literally dressing every guy that's available on the roster right now.
Could you not wave like Ernie and call up Raphael Lavoie or somebody?
I really don't think that'll make one iota.
No, probably won't make a difference. I'm just trying to think of give him another option somehow.
And that's another thing is like the fan base. We as media, you try to look for solutions. That's another thing that is a result of this poor start and poor performances in general. And I saw the Lavoie texts and tweets last night, but I'm like, yeah, you could find a way to do that. Make sure everything's kosher cap-wise. But he's going to play third, fourth line minutes and not do anything.
This is going to be a coach discussion here as well. How does a professional hockey team at any level take 3 too many men penalties in a game? And the usual excuse would be, they're not used to playing 11-7. But this team plays 11-7 more than it plays 12-6 since Jay Woodcroft took over. How do you get 3 too many men penalties in a game? Like the Bouchard, like the Bouchard discussion, I get it. He had a really bad game. We're being hard on him. When Bouchard gets 4 points in a game and it's +2, we praise the hell out of him. Like, we're just trying to say it how it is. But the blowing the lead and the defensive zone play, we'll get to the defensive zone stuff in a second because that was atrocious too.
Yeah.
But to me, 3 too many men penalties is the example of the team being a mess right now, right?
Okay. Because you talked about how many sets of line combinations. That was the fourth set in 6 games, right? So if Jay Woodcroft or whoever, Glenn Gulson, Dave Manson are going, Ryan McLeod, your line's up next. Well, what the hell's my line game to game?
Yeah.
If that's what's being said.
In the game.
And guys are getting confused and guys don't think they're on that line anymore. Okay, that's on the coaching staff. But I'm assuming that Woodcroft, Gulletson are saying McLeod, Holloway, Ryan, Ernie, Ryan, Draisaitl, like next 3. So I'm assuming, again, I'm not listening. I don't have a microphone on the bench, that they're saying the next 3 guys out, and these guys is just, they're not paying attention and they're having dumb, brain dead mistakes.
Too, right? Like, it's just, you've got junior coaches, like junior B coaches, who could run a better bench right now. At least according to last night. Like, I don't get
Billy,
it.
Tommy, and Davey, you guys are out next. Okay, they go to the front of the bench and they go out through the gate. They can't hop the boards because they're kids, but they know they're out next. Someone's not paying attention. I'm assuming it's on the players.
You would think it probably.
Unless the coaching staff is so flabbergasted that they're just like
they're just overwhelmed
Kane,
by
your
it.
line, go. And then the guys don't know who's on Kane's line at that moment. You know, that's what I would assume is happening, is that the players themselves are just not paying attention. And that was ridiculous. You get one too many men on the ice penalty, generally it's embarrassing, unless it's an egregiously bad call at the discretion of the referee. 2 is absurd. 3 is just a joke.
Yeah. I would love to see the amount of times in the history of the National Hockey League a team took 3 too many men penalties. I honestly don't even know. I don't even know when that has happened before. So try to figure that out at some point. Anyway, huge thanks to and thanks to everybody who showed up at Boston Pizza last night. That place was pretty much every table was full. And a decent little crowd stuck around for the post game too. Yes. So that was kind of nice.
And that one gentleman that came up to me and I thought he was complaining it was too loud.
Yeah,
but I couldn't hear it because we had the headset on. He actually wanted it louder.
Yeah, I don't know if he spoke great English, so he was trying to communicate that he wanted it louder.
Oh, okay. And I was like, wow, that's the first time.
Yeah, Tara at Boston Pizza took care of him. I didn't know what to do in that spot.
Yeah, Tara was great.
Yeah, and congratulations to I think Tyler, who ended up winning that Heritage Classic.
Yes.
Jersey that we gave away last night. Anyway, big thanks to the crew at Boston Pizza. $5 off medium pizzas. We didn't give any shots last night. That was very responsible of us.
That was.
Like, we had to work today. Shots were $5.50 for a bunch of different varieties.
Yeah.
And, a couple of the mature boys drinking the red wine. I had a couple of spiced rums. Fergie was in.
He brought his backgammon.
He did, but there's just no time for backgammon yesterday. No. Everybody's just too fired up.
It was busy. It was busy.
No, that was good, though. That was fun. The Oil Stream is also brought to you by our partners over at One Putt Virtual Golf. If you're looking to, maybe just you and a buddy want to get out, hit the links, go watch an Oilers game while you're there, inside the Trackman Bay. They can take care of you over there. 6816 178th Ave, north end of Edmonton. When you go there, let us know how awesome it is. All right? It's kid-friendly, so you don't have to worry about, I can't bring my kids. No, you can take your kids. They got free arcade games. They got complimentary snacks. They do have a selection of adult beverages, which I think everybody's looking to get their hands on as well. But for birthday parties, Christmas parties, great spot to take, some clients or whatever. Get that done at One Putt Virtual Golf. Brand new facility. Looks absolutely amazing. And I highly suggest you go out there and watch a game and take some swings. I mean, in about 3 months, we might know if the Oilers are joining you. So I sure hope not. But it's been an awful, awful start to the season. Let's get to a few of your text messages. 780-218-9999.
Nasty chat's buzzing. I see people are
nasty chat's just cruising. We'll get to a few of those coming up here as well. Tay is asking, would taking Bouchard off the power play send the right message to him? Take care of your business at 5-on-5. Like, it's like with children. You cannot go on your tablet or watch Bluey until your home reading's done. Right? Nobody wants to do the home reading. Nobody technically, when you're on the best power play in the world, nobody technically wants to play 5-on-5. They just want that power play time, right? Every time there's a penalty, it's like, let's go. The only issue there is that I really don't have faith in anybody else running the point on the blue line on the power play right now. Sorry, Darnell Nurse. I mean, I just don't like.
I mean, could you put Ekholm up there? And Ekholm has not looked normal either. I don't know where he's at physically. I mean, there seemed to have been some improvement in Ekholm, but he's not 100%. You're not putting Cody Ceci out there.
No.
You're not putting Vinny Desharnais up there. Could you go with a Kulak?
I always like Kulak. I think I brought Kulak up in that spot a little while ago. He's relatively smooth. I might still put Nurse ahead of Kulak on that.
Sure.
On that
Now, if you hypothetically put Kulak up there and you wanted to send a message to someone like Evan Bouchard, that would be a good way to do it. You know what, man? We're putting a third pairing D-man out there because we trust him on that power play and generally on the ice more than you right now. That would be a pretty clear message. So Tay, that's a little bit old school, but I like it. And sometimes it's effective. Todd McClellan said a thing once. You got to know when to put your arm around a guy, and you got to know when to kick him. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Oh, I think that's how.
And I think that would be
or any leaders
great
handle
kick.
stuff, right? Like, yeah, they won't do it. He won't be healthy scratch. He won't be taken off the power play. They might try to shelter him in 5-on-5 minutes somehow, because you almost have to. I mean, what did I see today? Somebody said he's on pace for like 108 points, but also to be minus 108.
Yes.
Which was one of the most remarkable things.
Had that.
Was that Bruce?
That was
one
Bruce.
of the most remarkable things in the history of hockey. Like, that's one of those. Now, it's not going to happen. He's not going to get 108 points, and he's not going to be minus 108 in the season. But that's the type of start that it's been. Yeah. That's for sure. Hey, Dusty, remember this October 5th proposal? Would you move number 2 at the deadline, perceivable value, to receive legit top 4 D-man back and maybe a fourth-line center? Scrap that. Not sure we could get the fourth-line center for him. Maybe we could give a second and number 2 to get number 2 off the books. That went in from Sonny D today.
Well, I don't think he's got a lot of value right now.
Oh, boy, we can't be saying that already, right? I mean, at this moment, he wouldn't.
No.
I still think he's going to cash all our over bets at Cool Bet, which is really nice. He's definitely going to do that. Thank God we didn't get stuck with a plus-minus line.
Excuse me.
The most disappointing thing about the game last night is that they let Mama Gazzola down. That one's in from
she was pissed off.
From Eden today.
She was texting while they were driving home. That's how mad she was.
She was texting our text line?
No,
she was
texting
you?
me. About the game, about the show. And then she said, thanks for a good night. That was fun.
Cal is in and says, Bush needs a little rest. Weren't they preaching competition from within this year? That's in from Cal.
Yeah, they were. Unfortunately, there's only, 21 guys that they can choose from?
It's tough to preach competition from within when every single player who's available to you has to play.
Yeah,
or
and you
gets
can't call
to play
anyone
in
up.
that situation.
There's no conditioning
right?
stint. It's just...
Yeah. Big Dave.
Oh, boy.
780-218-9999. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk, live sports content, crystal clear online at edmontonsportstalk.com. I'd make Bouchard the 7th D and give Broberg a look with Ekholm for a few games. His offensive upside isn't worth the defensive downside. The team can score without 97, and it can score without 2, but they need to defend. I think I'm pretty sure. Let's dive into this whole defensive setup that they've got going on right now, which was really highlighted.
Zone defense,
which was highlighted by the one goal along the boards. Nurses watching, wide open man at the side of the net. Nuge is nowhere to be seen. Cece's on the other side of the goal. One quick pass down. Like, when was the last time you saw an Edmonton Oiler be that open in the offensive zone? It doesn't happen. Like, that was an absolutely disastrous play.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that defensive change to this box and one or however they're approaching it.
Yeah, the zone
has made them worse defensively than they were last year. It's a smaller sample size, clearly. But the only team in the league that allows more goals per game right now is Carolina, and I have a feeling the Hurricanes are going to figure that out.
Yeah.
The Oilers right now are allowing 4.5 goals per game. I think Campbell's actually been pretty decent this season. Skinner had that one stupid mistake last game, but prior to that, he'd been pretty decent in that game. He wasn't good before that.
Yes.
How much longer, and I know people are asking this in the nasty chat, and I'm sure it's 780-218-9999. You'll be looking for an answer to this as well. How much longer can you give your team the time to settle in to, and you probably talked to Belsey about it. Cass brought it up as well. Gazdick when he was on with us. Like, these guys have played a number of different defensive systems on all the teams that they've been on throughout their National Hockey League career. They should not be thrown off by, hey, you have to cover this section of the ice and pick up a man if they're in that section. You know, like.
I asked Sean about that on the post.
Okay, what did he say?
It's not hard. It's not hard. It's a very simple concept, going man to man.
It's supposed to be easier to play than the man-to-man.
I'll sum it up in 3 words, and Belsey said it. It's not hard. They've found a way to overcomplicate it in their own minds. I don't know if the whiteboard teaching or classroom sessions, whatever the hell they do, is confusing these guys, but the system itself is not hard.
Well, why is it like second period was just like...
I'll add this too. Sorry. Gager made another point while we were talking about this.
Yeah.
He said, I don't see any communication.
When you have to have that in the zone, like,
because if you're not talking to each other out there, then what the hell are you doing? You're just guessing what your teammate's going to do?
Yeah.
And Gager said when he watches these games, he is not seeing any signs of communication. So you're reading each other's minds? That's a problem.
Well, but to me, like, that's a problem. That's a problem that the coaching staff needs to reiterate and say, hey, start talking out there.
A chatty bench. Chatty... Everybody on the ice is talking. If they're not talking out there, then what the hell?
If you're going to play zone defense as a unit, I don't care what the sport is. I played basketball. Like I played both growing up, but I really dove into, the game of, I'd like to coach basketball one day. When you're playing a zone defense in basketball, and I'm assuming it's somewhat similar in hockey, moving at a quicker pace. Mind you, once you get into half court and things move quick there too, you have to communicate in a zone setup, regardless, even if you're playing zone in the CFL or in the NFL, if you're setting up into a zone defense, you've got to be talking to your teammates on exactly what's happening and what's coming through your zone and where this guy's going and who you're like. That's a good point from Gager. If there's no communication, you will never have that succeed.
Tomorrow night against the Rangers. And listen, when there's 18,400 fans jammed into the building, it's kind of tough to hear. But usually, especially up in the press box where we sit, like you can hear the voices when they talk all the way up there. That's what I'll be listening for. If there's communication, if they're talking, if there's chatter, because usually you can hear the wheel. Hey, this guy's open, or a goalie's saying something and yelling at his guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I haven't been looking or listening for it, but I haven't caught anything in terms of communication on the ice. So that's something I'm going to see if I could pick up on tomorrow. But yeah, good point by Belsey on it's not hard. And then Gager following up with, I don't see any communication.
What if they're still allowing 4.5 goals per game, 15 games into the year?
Huge problem.
And then you got to run back to whatever it was last year.
Yes.
Like I know they lost to Vegas, and that's how they kind of evaluated like we need to defend differently.
Okay.
Right? Is that not what it was?
Yeah, but they barely even defend.
Well, that's the problem,
right? Like they set up the zone defense, but they don't do anything. They don't check. They don't pick up their man. They don't rough guys up in front of the net. They don't lift sticks. Like they're physically. They eventually get to the right spot, and then they just kind of like look at the opposition.
Going to the net.
I'll push you a little bit.
Going to the net, especially against Evan Bouchard, must be one of the easiest things to do in the National Hockey League.
No bruises.
I want to see him just. It's gonna sound really bad, but I want to see him hack the shit out of somebody.
Sure.
And just be like, hey, look at me, I care.
Hey, he's mad. Okay, he's playing mad. Good. Harness that anger, but we haven't seen that. And he's capable of being so much better. And the frustrating part, among the many frustrating elements, is that he's done it before. Played well, risen to the occasion.
Plan on watching an Oilers game in the near future, and you're probably going to be frustrated a little bit. Why not relax with your buddies at What Punt Virtual Golf? Book one of the 6 TrackMan bays, same bays that the PGA Tour uses, And book yourself a little event. Get out. I think once you go once, you're going to be like, okay, this is a new thing, right? Instead of just going, maybe sitting around, having a few bevies at somebody's house, go hit the links.
Yeah.
I'd like to learn a little bit more about the virtual golf aspect of it.
Well,
I feel like the short game would be tough, but we're definitely going to do it.
We're gonna go.
YouTube, Trev, do you golf? All right, good. There we go.
We're going to go.
I mean, it doesn't matter. If you
Team
don't have to
bonding.
golf, you can just go hang out. Yeah. No, we'll make that happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, check them out. 6816 178th Ave North in North Edmonton. Kid-friendly, too, if you want to take your kids. They can have some fun there as well. Conversation continues here on the Oil Stream. We're coming at you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio. If you're looking to spice things up a little bit, get your hands on the Ghost Pepper Chicken Sandwich. Game changer on the menu. That'll get you fired up. You know what they should probably do? Prior to the game, have Bouchard eat a Ghost Pepper Chicken Sandwich, and that'll really get him going.
Does he like spicy?
Oh, he probably doesn't. I don't necessarily blame him. I'm not a huge spicy guy myself, but get him going. By the way, today, if you're a Nasty Club member, on the post-show show, Eric and I did 5 ways to motivate Bouchard to get him going.
Of course you did.
Including, like I do with my kids, even if you don't score goals, but if you try your hardest, we get a Kit Kat Chunky on the way home.
Oh.
And it's just one Kit Kat Chunky. We split it through the family. But maybe that's what they need to do. They need to incentivize Bouchard with a treat. Could be the case.
Oh,
and maybe it's a Ghost Pepper Chicken Sandwich.
Yeah, get the Ghost Pepper Chicken Sandwich. I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of was, it was quiet coming into Oil Stream today. I'm kind of fired up. I'm kind of mad the more I talk about last
Should have seen me in the 6 o'clock hour today, buddy.
You were fired up?
Well, I mean, they should have been down by 3 goals after the second. They were awful in the second period. Jack Campbell kept them in the second period. I should have live bet the Wild in the second intermission. I was too busy. It was a major fail on my part. I could have cashed in on this with our partners over at CoolBet. But there's when we can roll in here the morning after a game, or now the afternoon after a game, and we can talk about things like what type of NHL team or professional team anywhere or any hockey team involving kids that are 11 years old or older take 3 too many men penalties in a game, or we can sit here and literally rank 4 major mistakes that Bouchard meant, or we can sit here and go, what's Jay Woodcroft doing and why does he look so defeated? Why are guys always wide open in the front of the net? Like, imagine fans of this team right now. They must be like, I want to go over, find Low Tide, and give that man a hug right now.
Big hug for
that
Low
dude
Tide
has
if you
got to
see
be
him.
devastated right
Yes.
now. He's got to be on tilt right now. Like, this has been the worst possible start you can possibly have. And just when last night, for a moment, you thought, hey, maybe they can get through this without McDavid, they go and completely fall apart. And I'm not sure the coaching staff, at least according to the looks and the availability yesterday, I'm not sure they have answers to what the hell's going on here. Which is why it's okay to be fired up.
Yeah, and yes. Listen, a win tomorrow against the Rangers on Hall of Fame night with Charlie Huddy and Doug Waite going in, I think that would heal some wounds. And then another win on Sunday in the Heritage Classic would do a great job.
If they ran off 2 here, yeah, it would help.
It would. And it could happen. It might happen. I would say, I want to say it's likely to happen. I don't think it's likely to happen, but it could happen. I didn't want to talk about 17-18, comparing it to what we've seen so far.
But
I've held off. But last night happens. Nothing is learned from prior mistakes. The last game, 2 games before, 4 games before, opening night. Nothing is learned. There's no lesson that's sinking in. And 17-18, day by day, is looking more and more comparable to this group right now. And it's ridiculous that we even have to say that. Peter Chiarelli built up that team in 16-17, subsequently in the offseason got rid of a bunch of guys that were NHL veterans, and then they put a lot of responsibility into the hands of guys who were fresh in their NHL careers and weren't ready to take the burden for an 82-game season, and they faltered. They cratered for 2 years, and they got into this terrible black cloud of emotions, and they sulked for 2 years, and then they dug themselves out of it. It feels like after 6 games, which is ridiculous to even think, that they're going down that path again. I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't believe it. But we've had 5 examples of them not figuring it out this year in 6 games.
So for the guy who texted in a little while ago, 780-218-9999, and part of this is correct. Lots of time left. That's
Absolutely.
True. You know, this is really funny actually, because I can see it. I can see like everybody's text history when they text in here. His text today was lots of time left. We will get on track. But then 2 days ago, his last text was, Tommy, is tomorrow's game a must win? So like it's this roller coaster that you're kind of on. There's never must-win games this early in the year. There really isn't. I mean,
no.
You can get by it. A must-win is saved for special moments, big rivalries type of thing. But should I not be saying it's just 6 games anymore?
I think we've kind of broken that threshold.
Because there's so many issues. It's not like one thing. You're like, oh, it's just 6 games, so get that one thing figured out. It's 6 games, but it looks like there's a lot of things to figure out, which means that it's not just 6 games. This is an ongoing list of problems, I think.
If we were talking about a 3-2 loss where it was a tight game, or a 2-1 loss where they played really well and Minnesota just got a lucky bounce or created an opportunity and the Oilers got robbed on an opportunity, if we're talking about something like that where you can recognize them putting together a solid 60-minute effort and they didn't get the result, I think there'd be way less tension than there is today around this team. It's the manner in which they are faltering. That's what's added so much fuel to this fire and this discussion and people resorting to solutions and making these drastic comparisons to years where they faltered and failed, quite frankly, in recent memory. So, like, if we were talking about a 2-1 tight checking loss where you're like, damn, they played a good game, but you know what? Minnesota just pulled it out. Edmonton, historically, not particularly good in mini. They've lost 5 straight there, now 6 in a row. One of their last 10 against the Wild. If they put up that fight last night, I think it would have relieved a lot of the tension, but it's just how they just stumble and bumble their way through these games and lose the way they do, giving up 5 in the third period, scoring their first goal of the third period this season, which is pathetic.
Yeah.
All of this
you can't close games like that. Like
it's just...
Yeah, there's like 10 things that you should be kind of concerned about with this team right now.
So the kid gloves, the go easy on these guys, even though it is early and we're 6 games in, I think that all of that, they've totally wasted it. Those excuses and those buts that we give them. Yeah. Are gone. They've blown them already.
I'm glad you brought that up because it was brought up on Nielsen's show today. Like, what if they play? I think Rick brought it up. Like, what if they play well but still lose to the Rangers? I don't.
Not much solace.
I don't think that. Like, I don't think you can sit there and go, because they're 1-4-1 right now, right?
Yes.
I don't think you can sit there and be 1-5-1. And have 1 win in your first 7 games and go, yeah, but there were signs there against the Rangers. Like, you got to go out and deliver a bloody win or don't talk to us. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that. And then on top of that, I think either way, win or lose against the Rangers, if they lose in anything but thrilling fashion to Calgary, there will be boos at Commonwealth on Sunday. I don't think that's a stretch. I guess especially if they lose to the Rangers and then they lose to Calgary and they're 1-7-1, 1-6-1, or 1-7-1 or whatever it is. There will be boos raining down at Commonwealth at the Heritage Classic, which is a huge major wake up call to like, you got to get this thing figured out. Were we wrong? Like, was everybody who thought the Edmonton Oilers were going to be a really good team this year, were we all just simply, like, how could we be this wrong about it? You know?
Well, we are right now.
I know, but like, how could everybody be so wrong? Like, there was nobody. And even, there's always those guys in the market who say they're fans and are like, I knew this team was going to suck this year. Yeah. There wasn't even any of that. Like, right now, the Oilers are paced to not be a playoff team. Like, nobody's going to come out and say, this is what I thought they'd be. And if you did, you're lying.
You're full of crap.
If you did, you're lying. So how could pretty much everybody be this off on this group?
Comes back to and I'm not the smartest guy, and everybody knows that. And I admit it readily. It's between the ears of these players collectively. When you think your shit doesn't stink, and you're going to go out there and hot dog it and still win in the best league in the world because of what everybody said about you and the points you put up and your pedigree and your track record as a player in the National Hockey League, and, we'll just go out there and cruise. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You got to buy into the system. You got to execute on the system. You have to have that fortitude that you're going to beat the guy in the other jersey, and you're not going to give an inch to him. They don't have that right now. Someone finally said killer instinct the other day after the loss to Winnipeg. No killer instinct.
Oh, yeah, they're up 2-0, let it slip away.
Warren Foegele last night. Warren Foegele, who I think it was either Spec or DNB's article following the loss last night, said that he's been one of their best forwards and players this year. He was so honest in his post-game press conference. He said it. He's like, we're doing it to ourselves. And when Warren Foegele is arguably your best forward through 6 games, that's a problem. And
arguably, he's in like a couple of spots there, right? He's the top 3 probably guys.
And I like Warren Foegele. I think Warren Foegele is a very respectable National Hockey League player. But I don't think Warren Foegele is your best. If he's your best player to start a season for the first 2 weeks, that's a major red flag. And no disrespect to Warren Foegele, because he is a good NHL.
Well, even Foegele right now is thinking, how am I one of the best forwards on this team?
I guarantee
right?
you.
Like 100%. That's just a dose of reality. I want to get to this. We had Wyshynski on our show today, and he tweeted this about 5 hours ago. He's one stat that really stands out early in this season. He brought this up on the show too. In this early season Edmonton Oilers disaster. And, he calls it disaster, but we're all calling it a disaster too, so don't get on top of Wyshynski here. He picked them to win the Cup.
Yeah.
As somebody pointed out, Elliot Friedman picked Woodcroft to win Coach of the Year and the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. Like, I just don't know how everybody can be so wrong. Yeah. He says Edmonton is 11th in preventing high-danger shot attempts at 5-on-5, but they are 32nd in high-danger save percentage, with Skinner and Campbell combining for an unfathomable .605 save percentage, the only team under 700, and they are at 605. Now, I don't know if there's a different level to high-danger chances, or if all of those high-danger chances are valued the same as high-danger chances, because a lot of the high-danger chances that the Oilers have allowed this year, I really don't think the goalies had any sort of chance on at all whatsoever.
Used yesterday as an example, that goal, was it Zuccarello's goal where Bouchard flubbed the shot and
then tic-tac-toe?
Yeah. Is that not a high-danger chance?
That's a high-danger chance, and we're supposed to expect him to stop that?
How does he? When the guy, his own guy knocks it away from him and he's sprawled out, and then the guy passes and it's an empty net.
And I'm not giving a free pass to the goaltending here.
No.
Although, I would almost give a free pass to Jack Campbell so far this year. Jack Campbell was brilliant in the one game that they won.
Yeah.
I didn't blame him for the team being absolute horse crap in the first game of the year. And you can make a case. It sounds bogus to say, but you can make a case he was one of, if not their best players last night in that game.
Yeah. Outside of the Hartman hat-trick goal, he gave them
That's one goal.
Chance.
Right?
To keep themselves alive in that game.
Look at the
They had a damn lead.
So, mean, we'll see what ends up playing out on that front, but we'll see if there's they got to show up on Thursday. Like, they have to show up and get it done on Thursday. At home.
I agree they have to. I don't know if they will.
This one is in from Jelly.
Jelly or Gelly?
Maybe Gelly. I don't know.
Is that Gelly gets here from me. Or Jelly,
here.
Whatever.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think of other letters that would be used in that. Jelly.
Gelly. He invited us to his wedding.
We know this guy?
Yeah. Well, pre and post we did.
Oh. He invited you to his wedding?
Yeah. Me and Hernan, or me and Jeff.
Did you go?
Couldn't make it.
I wonder if the experience.
I think it was in Vegas too.
What?
Something like that.
This guy randomly invited you to his wedding in
Yeah, too kind. Like Menopause Nick. Hey, Dustin.
Yeah, Menopause Nick invited us to his wedding.
Yeah.
And I would have actually gone to that, but I CFL game that day.
Yeah, I know.
At the end of the day, we knew we weren't going to win that game in Minnesota with the Minnesota curse in full effect. Could the Heritage Classic be the perfect thing for a reset to the season and just throw the first 2 weeks right out the window? That one in from Gelly.
I respect that. I'd say yes to that. Maybe they get a win tomorrow, but who knows? Maybe it galvanizes. I remember let's go back to the original Heritage Classic. I think the Oilers had a pretty decent start to the season. The game was obviously played in late November. They lost that game, and then the season went in the sewer.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I attended that game
moment for the wrong reason.
I attended that game as a Save on Foods worker and a cameraman for ICU Video and a Habs fan. Like, that's what I was doing at the time. Like, I had no ties to Edmonton really in any way. I just kind of was living here for a bit. I don't remember the season, so I don't remember that. I didn't care enough about that season to remember that going off. I just remember I'm pretty sure Richard Zednik scored the winner. Yeah. I think, in that game. And I remember standing up with a series of other Habs fans. But is that really? Is that when? They
were having I remember that was kind of the storyline of the season. They were having a pretty good start. Things were all right. The Heritage Classic happens in 2003. They lose it, and then the season took a left turn. And it kind of went off the rails, and Ty Conklin took over for Tommy Salo, who was hurt. They traded Salo to the Avalanche, and his NHL career was basically over. And the team, it just kind of went sideways, and then we go into the lockout. Obviously, some big changes that Kevin Lowe made in the offseason coming out of the lockout. Go to a cup final, and then we get the decade of darkness. So I do remember that Heritage game, the original, kind of was the point where the season went sideways. So maybe this will be the reverse of that 20 years later. Gelly, thank you for the text. Good to hear from you.
Dave the Welder says, how many restarts do we need? 14. I think we're on the restart number 4 already. That's
I know. Yeah. I know.
That's a spot that they find themselves in. Lori says, rest in peace, Rob Zitlau. Dusty, I didn't know you worked for ICU. Neat. I'm working with Dave now. IC Live. Yeah, I worked. I can't remember how I met Rob, but good dude. And I shot probably in 03, 04. I would shoot I'd shoot 2 high school football games like 3 nights a week in the freezing bloody cold. Then I get back into my horrible car, drive back to the ICU Video Studios, drop off the tapes. My hands, I couldn't even move. But it was nice. It was nice to get the work from Rob, and a tragic accident that took his life. But he was a good guy.
Tube Sock says 6.
6 restarts. Okay, good. 6 restarts. KC in 780 says, so what you're saying is this classic could be the start of another decade of darkness.
No, I hope it's the reverse of that. No, Casey in 780. For the sake of everybody.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Jeez. We'll get into, I guess on Fridays, I'll be gone Friday. I have to go do a game Friday night down in Calgary. So, but Skinner starts, everything else stays the same? Or do you
dude? Who knows at this point?
Ah, man,
who knows at this point?
He's got himself so deep into the blender right now.
Yeah,
and it's on such a good speed that he's trying to crawl up the walls and get out of it, but he can't because it's just going so damn fast. So I want to sit here and say, stop blending up your lines, but then I also go, well, what the hell are you gonna do after this last game? I think I'd probably leave them the same, dial back Bouchard, and you can't sit Bouchard. What are you going to do? You're going to run 17 guys? You can't do that. I mean, there's 0 chance of that happening. You're still going to run 11-7, and you're probably going to leave things the same, but Skinner will be in net.
What I wouldn't do is put a guy that has 1 hit, minimal shots, and doesn't really create any offense on the top line. I would let him be a defensive player.
Are you talking about your guy?
Yeah, he's my guy in the bottom 6.
He's not your guy in the top 6.
Never.
You were pretty excited about that block shot last night, though.
Great block shot. Guess what? He was 50% on the faceoff dot, too. That's something. In 11:54. I wouldn't even toy with that. That would never even be in my mind. And I don't feel like I'm smarter than anybody. I don't feel like I know better than anybody. It just instinctually, I would not say, hey, Matthias, you've done sweet FA offensively all year. Guess what? You're on the top line tonight.
Is that analytically driven?
I have no idea.
I know I've had some people be like, is this the new analytics department saying that Matthias Janmark should be in that spot?
Well,
we don't know.
It worked out great because I see a lot of donuts across the board. If that's the case, it might not be. It might have been instinct. It might have been gut feel. But I would have, and listen, I don't know if he would have been better, but I think Dylan Holloway probably would have been a better choice to bump
Do you think
up.
there's that switch that might come? Holloway bumped up, Janmark down the third line?
Yeah, why not? Like, one guy is supposed to be offensive. It hasn't clicked yet because he's so young. It eventually will. He's hungry. He's doing the right things. He has his never back down attitude. At some point, you figure it clicks in your mind. You learn the nuances of the level you're playing at, and you start to figure it out and have success. That's the guy I would put in with better offensive instincts than Matthias Janmark. But again, this is me venting now.
Davo in the nasty chat. This is an interesting comment. If the Oilers can beat the Rangers, McDavid may miss the Classic. And my response to that would be, regardless of the outcome of the game against the Rangers, that should not impact the decision on Connor McDavid playing in that Classic on the outdoor ice in any way, shape, or form. If he's good to go, you play him.
Yeah.
If he's not 100% good to go, you keep him the hell away from that game.
That's fair.
That's what I would do.
If his oblique or whatever it is bothering him by the time we get to Saturday night and he doesn't wake up feeling like $1 million on Sunday morning, don't bother.
Chris Run in. Bouchard is a -4, so you would have been ahead had him not been playing. You have a first overall pick that you're not playing, first rounder. If Holloway doesn't play, the whole scouting department needs to be updating LinkedIn. Are you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, aren't we all? I just updated my LinkedIn.
I have a LinkedIn account. I have never updated it. I don't know anything that's going on, but I get emails being like, 14 people looked at your thing.
Sick.
And then you have to pay to see who it is, right?
If you want to. Yeah, no, it's not worth it.
I know nothing about LinkedIn.
It's like business Facebook, and I hate Facebook. So if you're adding me on Facebook, if you somehow find me, I try to make myself very hard to find.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Do you have accounts with like you wear disguises and stuff?
No, I'm not that way.
Okay. All right.
I talk to my Polish grandma on Facebook.
Oh, that's it?
When she's in Poland.
Yeah,
so
my Facebook has basically become my two grandmas commenting on pictures of my family that my wife posts.
Yeah. No, I hate Facebook.
Oh, and Crack Pack, obviously.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I got a Crack Pack card break over there, and that one, I was going to do a break tonight, but I'm just too tired. I was just like, you know what, we'll save it for Sunday.
There's a lot going on.
Monday.
Lots going on.
Don't blame Mike P for this mess. No analytics show the nuclear line combination being a good idea, so that would be Park Howdy. No, I just said I saw yesterday people were being like, do you think this decision to put Janmark in the top 6 is analytically driven? And I think they're asking that because no time in the world before would they have ever thought to put Matthias Janmark on a top line with Draisaitl and Kane.
I'm still scratching my head. That guy?
It doesn't make sense.
Tom Gazzola's most important bottom 6 player from last year until Bukestad got here. You're putting him into the top 6, asking for offense.
Somebody else in the nasty chat was saying, oh my God, Tommy has turned on Matthias.
No,
Janmark.
I haven't turned on him. He's not an offensively gifted player that should be elevated to the top line at any point. He is a responsible, steady bottom 6 guy that should be able to be relatively responsible in his own zone, kill some penalties, and give you a solid 12 minutes a night. And there's nothing wrong with that. But he should not be burdened with asked to be an offensive juggernaut or even an offensive go-to on any team. When a guy like that chips in offensively, it's bonus. It's a pleasant surprise. You're happy. Oh, look at that. He scored. He gets his 10 to 15 goals, 10 to 15 assists, and then gives you some steady play, hypothetically, on 200 feet of the ice.
Sean is in and says, Oilers will find their game and start winning when Dusty brings back Tales of the North.
You brought it back.
Yeah, we've done it once. They didn't win. But that was kind of cheating because we only did it for the road game.
Oh,
they haven't actually had a weekday home game yet. That changes on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We will have a Tales of the North tomorrow morning for you on the Nielson show. Oh, by the way, here's something to think about and dive into. I had no idea this was a thing. We were at this Bouchard draft together, Tommy. Bouchard conundrum. Bouchard played his first season for the London Knights playing right wing 5-on-5 and defense on the power play. Should the Oilers tell Bouchard to get his game back on track? So I replied and said, is this true? Had you heard of this before?
No.
Anyway, he says, I read it in his draft report somewhere. They didn't trust him 5-on-5. His London Knights 2017 player profile. So I didn't know that. I mean, I'm sure some people in the oil logosphere or whatever would know that, but I was not aware of that. I'm still not 100% sure it's confirmed.
Well,
but, part of it does make sense. A 17-year-old Bouchard, probably not very reliable defensively.
And again, at the NHL level, and this is what makes it so frustrating, is he's shown that he's capable of much better in important games.
It looked like we were past this discussion, right? Like
that's what makes it nerve-wracking.
Yeah. KGill97 says, yes, guys, that profile is true. Well, there we go. Played forward, 5-on-5, 17-year-old in the dub, or in the O.
Oh.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today.
Very
much appreciate it. Yeah, it really was. I mean, at some point, you want to start talking about wins. So we'll see. Maybe on Friday you'll have a win to talk about on the oil stream. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Our live content, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, fires up again first thing tomorrow morning. We had a Nielsen Show replay coming up right away. If you missed our show this morning, stick around for the next hour if you missed it on the live stream, on the live audio stream, because I really rip into it.
You were a hot little tamale today.
I was very much a hot tamale, just like Tommy Gazzola's mom last night at Boston Pizza. Tommy, get us out of here, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Smash that thumbs up button. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah, like if you've been watching at all and you enjoy any of our content, please subscribe. We'd like to hit 5,000 by the end of October, and we're about 170 people away.
Yeah, let's go. Tell your friends, all that good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow with plenty of great content, pre- and post-game show as well. That's been a nice...
Yeah, it's been great.
A beast so far. So let's keep that going. Thanks for tuning in to Edmonton Sports Talk. Have a great rest of your day.